I started out the year with 192 Nintendo games in that NES set and only 31 Super Nintendo games in my collection. But those numbers have drastically changed. Now, a lot of things happened in 2024 for the channel, in my life, and with my collection. So this video, we're gonna take a look at that, hit some of the highlights, we'll look at some of the things I did and some of the awesome games I picked up. So like I said, 192 Nintendo games in the set when we started and only 31 Super Nintendo games. So not a lot there. The Nintendo collection has drastically increased. Like looking at it and going back through it, this is crazy to me.
What will the future bring from Nintendo? More hits like The Legend of Zelda. Sports hits like ice hockey. Nintendo has the most video game hits like Hogan's Alley and Donkey Kong Classics, and more like Excite Bike and RC Pro-Am. And you can play them only on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power.
So January was a little quiet for me. February came around and things kind of started to change a little bit. Things started to pick up. My first big pickup of 2024 was Dragon Fighter. This is an awesome game. I got this at the buy and sell store, a store that I really like to go back to. Honestly, I was just there the other day again, grabbing some gifts for a friend. It's a great store. If you're in the Calgary area, definitely check out the buy and sell store. The staff is amazing there. Those guys are awesome. It's such a great time there, and they had Dragon Fighter. Dragon Fighter is a really cool game because it does have like that shoot 'em up style mixed in with that side-scrolling platformer style adventuring game. This is an amazing game. The first big pickup of 2024 for me, and things just kept getting crazier and crazier. So as we rolled into March, I broke that 500 subscriber mark. Not a huge accomplishment, I'm sure, but for me, that was a big deal. So thank you to everybody that's been here from the start, everyone that was at first 500. Thank you so much. That meant so much to me when we hit that point. When April rolled around, I got a message on my Instagram from a guy in the city saying that he had a bunch of duplicate games that he was kind of looking to sell, wondering if I was interested in any of them. So I looked, and there was definitely a few that I needed. There was like 9 games that he had that I wanted to pick up. So we messaged back and forth a little bit. That following weekend, there was actually like a toy show in the city. So I went there, met up with Craig, and got some games from him. And honestly, that's crazy to me that that was April because it's the end of 2024 now, and I have a really good friend in Craig now. I actually have a business partner in Craig, which is crazy to me. And that all comes through collecting. That comes through this community, getting to know everybody in it, talking to people, sharing the love and the passion of collecting toys, collecting video games. Me and Craig connected on those levels. And honestly, it was an instant friendship. And one of the big pickups that I got from Craig was Power Blade. This is an awesome game. This game is always gonna mean so much to me because this is kind of the one that was in that set that really jumped out to me. And I'm so glad I picked this up. So glad I got this from Craig. And Craig, dude, honestly, thanks for reaching out then, because this friendship, what we have hanging out and visiting, that wouldn't be there if you hadn't. I really, really appreciate that. Power Blade is an awesome game, super fun, side-scrolling kind of platformer style game. Really, really cool. The only thing is, Craig, I said it before right when I picked this up from you, but you know you made it, so I have to complete the set. So I gotta pay all this money for Power Blade 2 eventually, but it's totally worth it. I'm so excited to have this one in my set. So May showed up, we had Calgary Expo, went to that with my buddy Dustin, checked it out. That was a really fun adventure. Was there like 8 sword booths? Yes, absolutely. Almost as many as there was at Edmonton Expo. Calgary's a little bit bigger. There was definitely some video game booths there. Really similar to that Edmonton Expo feel though. So if you're looking for something that's really mainstream in that fan community, that's a place you could check out. We're definitely gonna go back again this year and check it out. Give that one more chance. but it was a really good time because I got to hang out with my friends there. And I got to meet some really awesome people. Picked up a ton of games there. Really enjoyed that. Can't wait to connect with those people again and have some conversations, hopefully about some future endeavors that we're looking at doing. So June rolled around, I got to make that trip to Texas through work and have a little bit of game hunting while I was there, which was a great time. I really enjoyed that, especially checking out the stores and adventuring around when we had that little bit of time off from work when we could do that. And 2 games that I picked up at Retro Funk while I was in Texas, ones that I'm excited to have in this set. Shadow of the Ninja. This is an awesome game. If you don't have Shadow of the Ninja in your collection, definitely worth picking up. A little bit on the pricey side, but super fun. Ninja Gaiden, a little bit easier than Ninja Gaiden, and you can play 2 players. This one, I am really excited to get to play with my buddy and his kids. Just hooked them up with a Nintendo for Christmas. So now there's no excuses. I'm coming over, I'm bringing Nintendo games, and we are 1000% gonna play this one together. Another great one that I picked up was Gargoyle's Quest 2. This is a really cool game. This is one that I was super excited to get. I like that it's kind of got that RPG style to it. I love that Firebrand is in this one. I think that's so cool. I have the Game Boy game now too. That actually finished this set. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I love this game. I think this is super cool, really fun. I love what they did there. I love they brought Firebrand from that Ghouls and Ghosts series, brought him over into his own game, and we actually got 3 different ones of it. I think that's super cool. It really means a lot that I have this one in my collection and could find that whole set eventually. So June kept rolling along, ended up going to SoCal Gaming Expo, got to hang out there. That was a blast, so much fun. Checked out a bunch of stores while we were in SoCal, got to hang out with the guys from Pixel Game Squad, got to have really a lot of fun. I really feel like that was my first big gaming convention of the year. I know I'd been to Really Rad Weekend in the previous October there, but it was kind of a smaller convention, an amazing smaller convention. But this one was like my very first really big gaming convention, and it was so much fun because of all the people I got to connect with while I was there. Got to hang out with Russ, got to hang out with Mort, got to hang out with the guys from Pixel Game Squad. Honestly, it was such a blast just making those connections and developing those friendships a little bit further, starting to build those relationships. Some of my favorite games I picked up while I was at SoCal Gaming Expo is Paper Mario on the N64. Now, this one, it came out at a time when I was kind of transitioning from that being a child to that young adult phase. And I looked at this, I saw the previews for it in the gaming magazines and commercials and stuff like that, and I was like, man, that looks really dumb. I'm a grown-up now, I'm not gonna play video games like that anymore. And I kind of had moved on a little bit. I was getting into motocross, snowboarding, stuff like that, and I missed out. I wish I could go back to that moment and be like, you need to play this game, because this game is so much fun. Matt with Retro Wolf, he was like, you got to play this game, definitely worth trying. So when I picked this one up in SoCal, I got home, put it in, and I was hooked. I can't wait to fully finish this game. This game is so much fun. And like I said, I really missed out on playing this game as a kid. I feel like that Yoshi's Island game had come out. I'd played that. You had that little crying Mario. I was starting to get to that age where I was like, okay, this is a little kiddie. And then this one came out and I was like, okay, if they're going to do that with that, I think I'm good. I don't think I want to play that one. And man, did I ever miss out. That was a big mistake. This game is so much fun. RPG style game. Honestly, I love it. I love the characters in it. I love the design in it. Everything about Paper Mario is amazing to me. Super glad I picked this one up. Awesome game in my collection. Starting out the year at 192 games in the NES set, by the time we got to June and went to SoCal Gaming Expo, that collection had taken a really big jump to the point that game number 321 in the NES set is actually Metal Storm that I picked up from Mort at SoCal Gaming Expo. Now this is an awesome game. I love that you can flip up and down. That side-scrolling platformer style of game with that reverse gravity feature to it. Such a cool game. I love that I got this one from Mort. I love what this one means because of that. I love that I got to build some friendships at SoCal Gaming Expo. I got to hang out with Russ Lyman. Russ is such an awesome dude. Had such a blast having lunch with him, hanging out, checking out an arcade with Russ while we were there that Manny actually had given us tickets to. Got to hang out with Manny, got to meet some amazing people there. Had such a blast. While we were in SoCal, got to check out a bunch of stores. Game Tower, Hidden Gem Video Games, where I actually picked up Demon's Crest. Added this one to that Gargoyles Quest set that I was looking for. Again, Firebrand, getting to play as him. Shortly after this, I did pick up the first one on the Game Boy. Super glad I could pick this one up. CJ Punky, thank you so much for always being so amazing. I love Hidden Gem Video Games.
赤い炎の伝説がゲームボーイによみがえるレッドアリーマー赤い村外伝
So on the Sunday of that SoCal Gaming, me and Russ in the morning met up with Retro Rick and the guys and checked out Rose Bowl Flea Market. That was a really fun adventure. There's videos from all three of us about Rose Bowl. Definitely check that one out. That is a huge swap meet, super curated. A lot of clothes and vintage stuff. We did find some cool games. Really great time. Really fun getting to hang out with them. Got to check out Doc Brown's house on the way back with Russ. Had just a blast hanging out with these guys. It was such a fun trip. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I really enjoy that the community of retro game collecting is so open to new people like me. I was a nobody walking into that. Yeah, I'd collected toys and had a bit of experience, but I didn't know what I was doing when I walked into there. And even by the time we got to like June, I'd made all these friendships, these deep connections with these people that I'm gonna treasure for the rest of my life. And I did take that big risk at SoCal Gaming Expo where I didn't buy a copy of Earthbound because there was one here before I left at that buy and sell store. Went back, ended up getting Earthbound. So excited to have this in my set. Can't wait to finally sit down, put this one in with my buddy Kyle and play through it. We have to make this work. We have to find a way where we can do this because I cannot wait to play this all the way through and get to just hang out and have fun doing it. Earthbound, a little pricey game, but so glad I got to add that to my collection. Glad I took that risk and it paid off. So speaking of making friends in the community, start of July, Kai over at Sober Living, he sent me a box of games. I got to open that up and check that out, and we're gonna look at some of those right now, Kai. Kai's super into like the Japanese games, which I think is super cool. I can't speak Japanese. I never had a Famicom. I don't know a lot about them, so it's hard for me to appreciate them as much as he does, but it's fun to have these in my collection. So first thing out of the box from Kai, Kai does photography. I have this really cool picture that he sent me here. That looks like it is from Japan somewhere. Really well done. Kai, your photography is awesome. Definitely check him out. In that box, there's also this little box of Pokemon cards. I know nothing about Pokemon cards. Again, it was that point in my life where I was, moving from childhood to that young adult phase when Pokemon come out. So I've never even played the Pokemon games. I finally picked one up, but I know nothing about the cards. So I don't know what these are worth or how you play them. I'm sure it's like Magic the Gathering or something like that. It looks like it to me, but Kai sent me this box of Pokemon cards. Never had that before, so that's really cool to have in my set. So some more items out of the box is this Famicom Disk System game. I did do some research that I could. I think this might be a Gundam game. I'm not really sure. You can see it has this little Gundam dude on here. I don't have the ability to play this game. Really cool to have that in my set though. Just kind of a cool piece to have on the shelf and know that it came from Japan and it came from Kai. That means a lot, but I don't know anything about this one. So Kai, let me know in the comments any of these games, if there's something I'm missing or anything like that.
スーパーマリオブラザーズ2はさすがディスクで面白いへったくそ
ゼルダの伝説もさすがディスクで面白い下手くそ
ムカーチャッカムカッとくるけどやめないで やればやるほどディスクシステム
He included a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh games, Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster Duel 3, I think this is. This one kind of works in my system. Monster Duel 4 he also sent me. Haven't been able to play this. I don't speak any Japanese, so I have a hard time playing games like this because I don't really understand what's happening. I'm the type of guy that I need to know what's going on. I guess I'll have to figure out a way to play these so I can check them out. He also added Doki Doki Sasset. I probably butchered that. This is like an adventure, like a story-driven style game. I looked it up because I couldn't get this one to work in my system. I think I must need to get like a Japanese Game Boy, or maybe I need to scrub these games a little bit further. This one looks like it's like that. I'll put up some gameplay of this one. There was only one that I could find when I was kind of researching this. So check this one out. Kai, let me know more about this one. Kai also included this odd looking game. Apparently this is a bit of an oddity. This is a Tamagotchi game. Tamagotchi, however you want to say it. This one has a battery in it, so it will save your Tamagotchi's progress. It also has a speaker on it that you can turn on and off on the side. Kind of a odd and interesting feature, so apparently you know when your Tamagotchi is in distress. I never owned a Tamagotchi as a kid. I think my sister had one. It was a little purple egg thing. I don't really understand them or what you do with them. I think you have to feed them and maybe clean up there and they go to the bathroom. Not really sure. Don't have the ability to really play this, but cool looking item. I didn't think I would ever own something like this. So this is awesome. I really appreciate you sending this stuff, Kai. Last thing in the box we got from Kai was this boxed game here. Now inside of this, there is like a phone cord. I had to figure this out. Originally, Kai had sent me another box and it had like a Mahjong game in it that was a release title in Japan for the N64. This is the sequel to it. This had online servers that you could play on. Those servers are defunct, so I can't play this and I don't know what Mahjong is or how to play it, or even what they're telling me to do in this, but cool to have this on the shelf. Really cool, interesting item. Apparently I'm gonna need to learn Japanese so I can play some of these games, or at least get Google Translator to work. So check out Kai over at Sober Living. Again, man, thank you so much for sending me the box of goodies. Really excited to have these on my shelf as those kind of conversation pieces. So July, I ended up going to Southeast Game Exchange, flew into Atlanta on a red-eye flight, slept in the airport a little bit. RNG Gamer, Bucky, and Jeff picked me up. We checked out Siege. That convention was massive, super fun. So many vendors, so many awesome people, just such a great time. And one of the highlights of that, other than getting that Nintendo signed by a bunch of people while I was there, was getting Miss Pac-Man from Seth. Seth, dude, thank you so much again for this. This is one of the highlights of 2024 for me. He went out of his way to make sure that this had the hang tab and was fully complete in box. We had a really nice visit the night before, and honestly, Seth, dude, that means so much to me that you were able to get this for me. This you can play 2 players on, which is one of the reasons he wanted to pick it up for me. This is my favorite thing that I got from Siege. I got some really cool items in Siege, and I'm excited to get to go back to Siege. But this one's awesome. Seth, thank you so much again. So shortly after Southeast Game Exchange, we did that giveaway for the 1,000 subscriber mark, gave away that Nintendo with all the signatures on it. And right after that, we actually hit monetization on the channel. So thank you so much to every single one of you that subscribe and watch the videos. That means so much to me. It honestly blows my mind that you guys care to even watch me natter away about video games on here, especially when it's like Nintendo and Super Nintendo, because I feel like a lot of people have already said a lot about these games. So it just means a lot that you guys are willing to listen to what I have to say and what my thoughts are on these games. So in the month of September, I ended up going back to SoCal. Ben Retro Escape with Pixel Game Squad. He'd reached out and had a ton of duplicates that he was looking to get rid of. So I picked up like a stack of games from Ben. Got to hang out with Ben and Curtis, picked up, again, a stack of games. This pushed that Nintendo set to like 380 something games, like 388, I think, is what I actually had when I came home from that, which to me, that was amazing. And I got to go to Retro Games Plus with Manny, with Manny's Arcade, picked up a game there. I got Mick and Mac, the Global Gladiators. This is like a sequel to McKids. So glad Manny pointed this out while we were filming and hanging out at Retro Games Plus. If you haven't checked out Retro Games Plus, absolutely an amazing store. This is such a cool game. I love that the music is epic in this one. Now, again, I got to go to the swap meet with Pixel Game Squad, the Camel Crew, Lost in Retro. Gabo was there, had a blast hanging out with those dudes. While I was there, I also got to hang out with Curtis and the guys as Curtis did a whatnot. Picked up Monster in my pocket. This one's gonna always mean a lot to me. It's gonna have those memories attached with it. Getting to hang out. It was like insanely hot that day. The door was open. We were all sweating in Curtis's house as he was doing this whatnot, and we were going through all these games, selling awesome games to awesome people, and I was able to pick this one up. This is an interesting side-scrolling platformer game. I had a lot of fun just playing this for this video, so I got a little bit of footage for it. I've only played a little bit of it, but super cool, really interesting game. And it means so much that I picked it up from Curtis and have those memories associated with it.
What do you have in your pocket?
Monster in my pocket.
They're here. They're everywhere. They're squishy. Monster in my pocket. New from Matchbox.
Now, October rolled around, we went to Edmonton Expo, which was kind of disappointing. Watch the video on that if you haven't, if it's something you're interested in. There were so many sword boots. It was more of like an Etsy shop than anything. I guess it is a fan expo, but maybe eventually we'll have some bigger gaming conventions here. Let me know in the comments if you're from Alberta or BC or Saskatchewan or anywhere around me and you'd like to see more retro gaming conventions kind of getting a little bit bigger. Maybe compete with those fan expos. But I feel like those fan expos are a little bit different than like the video game, comic book, toy conventions that I get to go to when I go to the States. Like Arkansas Retro Fest, that I got to go to. Retro Rick's convention, that was a blast. Got to check out Rick's store, got to get some games while I was there, and added some more Nintendo games to that set. Definitely check out those videos. Rick did an amazing job. His convention was super cool, especially based on the fact that it was his first convention, his first attempt doing something like that. He set the bar really high for a first-time convention, so that's awesome. And a couple of my favorite games I picked up while I was there at that convention is gonna be Gun-Knack. This is a shoot-'em-up game. I really like this one. I didn't expect to enjoy Gun-Knack as much as I do, because I feel like I know what I'm doing in this one. I feel like I can handle this one. I've only played the first few levels, but I'm way less frustrated playing Gun-Knack than I am playing a lot of other shoot-'em-up style games. So I enjoy this one. I got this one from Woodman Classics. Definitely check out Travis's channel. Travis does amazing work as a whole. He's got those Mario statues. He's got that Star Fox statue. He always has some of the best games at his booth. So if you see Woodman Classic having a booth at a convention, you're gonna need to beat me there, because I'm going and I'm buying games from Trav every single time I'm there. Really excited I could pick up this one. And another one that I was really excited to pick up, this was after the convention. I was hanging out with Ben. We went for supper after kind of helping Rick and Michael tear down the convention. And we were sitting at supper, and the running joke with me and Ben after the big pickups that I did when I went to SoCal for that weekend and I got all those games from him was every time Ben texts me, I'm spending money. So it was funny that we were sitting at dinner and he's like, hey, I got something you might be interested in. And I just laughed. I said, why don't you text me? Because then I know I'm spending money. So Ben had picked up Zen the Intergalactic Ninja while we were at Arkansas Retro Fest. Ben is very particular about his games, which personally I think is awesome. His games are all super clean, super crispy. I'm maybe not as picky as Ben, so he picked this one up, and when he bought it, he didn't notice that on here, there is a little tiny discoloration blemish there. So we're at dinner, Ben's like, hey, I've got this game. don't think I want it in my set because it has a discoloration. Would you be interested in it? I was like, absolutely. And not based on anything other than the fact that it has that story behind it. Zen the Intergalactic Ninja is a difficult game. One of the levels has a really weird perspective that I just keep on dying at. It is a bit of a difficult game, but I'm so glad I could get this one from Ben and add it to my set. I have a lot of games from Ben, but this one always has that moment that I can look back at. Go back in the memory banks and remember sitting there at like Buffalo Wild Wings, having wings with Ben and buying a video game from him. Which is what 2024 was really all about for me, was the memories behind these games. Pulling a game like F-Zero out of a retro games treasure box and thinking, I've always wanted to own this. I don't even know if I'd ever played it until I pulled it out of there. I'd seen it, obviously, in video game magazines, reviews. I'd seen friends play it, but I'd never played it. The memories that went back on this one when I pulled it out of that box was amazing. I sniped a game on eBay and I got Wacky Races. This is such a great game. I have memories of this as a child. I remember emulating this one and not even knowing what I was doing on this giant IBM computer, playing this game because we had like the VHS tapes of the Wacky Racers and stuff like that. I'm so glad I finally got to cross this off my hit list. This is such a great game to me. It's not even a good game, but to me, because I have those memories of those cartoons and of playing this, I can close my eyes and remember where I was sitting, how I was feeling, the TV on in the background, my sister on the couch watching TV, and me emulating Wacky Races on this giant IBM computer, having a great time on a summer vacation when I was like, probably like 15, 16 years old. I love that this game brings back those memories. I love that gaming can do that for me. And I feel so lucky that not only does gaming bring me those memories, but it also brings me friendships. Friendships like I have with Ryan with Next Wave Video Games. Ryan reached out to me last year, wanted me to come in and check out his store, and now we're really good friends. Ryan's actually joining us as a business partner for kind of future endeavors that we have that I'll get to talk about eventually with the channel. And a game that Ryan hooked me up with, kind of the last big one of 2024, was DuckTales 2. Super excited to get this. You know I love those Disney afternoon shows and games. So to add DuckTales 2 to the collection, to finish out 2024, to me, this is amazing. This is totally epic that I have this one in my set. The first one might be a little bit better, but this is a really fun game. Just follows in suit with what the first DuckTales game brought us. The fact that it's from Ryan, a friend. This means so much to me and really means a lot for 2024. Now, I did end up going back to Southern California, got to go to a swap meet and hang out with Ben and Curtis. Went to a pinball tournament with Ben, Curtis, Chris, and Ricky. I do have a little clip of that I'll show right here, but had a blast there. Then we drove out to Vegas, met some friends there. Katie and Spencer, Best Life and Beyond. If you're into Disneyland at all, definitely check them out. They have a great channel. Super fun and amazing people. We did go to Retro City Games while we were there, which if you haven't watched last week's video, definitely check it out. Picked up a couple of lower end games there, added to my set just a little bit. But that's it for 2024. We went from 192 games in the NES set to 468 games in that collection. There's 209 left. We went from 31 Super Nintendo games to 77 Super Nintendo games. Added to the Game Boy collection, I added to the Game Boy Color collection. We got some N64 games in that set. I really feel like 209 NES games left. Yeah, there's some big ones in there, but maybe, just maybe, we can push through that in 2025. Then we're gonna dig into Super Nintendo, which that's like the love. Like, Nintendo was my first love. Super Nintendo is my true love. So I'm really excited to move into that and start to build that set as well.